Hello guys, welcome to Art Friends. I'm Opalia and I'm today followed by Coda.
Oh, I'm Coda. Hello.
Good job.
I did not expect you to say followed by.
Yeah, Coda physically stalks Opalia and you're like,
Yeah, I do. I am at all times behind
Definitely
her.
not, it's actually me being behind him.
what?
But yes, it is us three back in action. Coda, Coen, and
I don't know the
Opalia.
introduction.
Guys,
I'm a girl.
guess what?
What?
Guess what? In the last episode, we were like, hey, if you have any art-related questions, go on our YouTube or our Instagram or whatever, and give them to us. Ask
Well,
us.
it's not really last episode, it was more like episode 9.
Oh, right, not the last, but the last episode where we did this answering questions thing.
Yeah.
And guess what? People gave us questions.
What?
But yes, we did get questions. We did get lots of questions. We're not going to be able to answer all of them, but we have a good, I think, 4 that we're going to try to get through.
Maybe more.
And
we'll see.
Maybe more. So let's get into the first question. Has anybody ever tried scamming you into giving them free art?
No.
No, because people are not interested in my art.
It has happened to me, and I actually have
Tell us.
I
want to hear it.
He wants the tea.
Okay.
Tell us the story in vivid detail,
So,
preferably animated.
There was this mid-sized YouTuber, like I would have to say 20k subs or something like that, and I'm not going to give out. I find that disrespectful because But it was Popcross. Yeah, Popcross DM'd me scamming me, guys. I don't know if you don't actually take this here.
Call him out on this. Can't believe he's done this.
But basically, I got this message on Instagram one day, and it said, like, dude, I love the way you cartoon things. Like, the way you draw is so cool. Could you draw me an icon? And I said, sure, dude. What are you looking for exactly? Because I didn't have a commissions sheet, and I still don't. But I take commissions. I'm just not like advertising them. So like, if people DM me and are like, "I'll pay you to draw a thing," I'm like, "Yeah, for sure." But this dude was like, "Okay, maybe like just the full color thing," and I was like, "All right, I'll say." Since it's just an icon, no shading, $20. And he goes, ooh, I have 5. And I said, okay, I'll give you like a like refined sketch or something, because I wanted to be nice to the dude, but at the same time, if I price my stuff low, that immediately.
When did this happen?
I could literally check the date on the Instagram DMs, but it wasn't that long.
So we knew you back then?
And of course. It was actually like...
tell us about this.
You didn't spill the tea with us?
I'm sorry, it didn't cross my mind to tell you guys.
I can't believe you've done this.
Yeah, I'm unfriending you.
But basically, the dude was like, I have $25 in... And it wasn't dollars. It was I have 25 of my currency that I can give to you. And this is how it happened. He goes, I have 25 blank. I forget exactly the currency. And then I went to Google and I translated the currency, and it amounted to about like $3 USD.
So 25 Australian dollars.
It wasn't Australian. It was something in South America.
Oh yeah. But
basically, I was like, nah, gonna need a little bit more than that. He was like, okay, I'll wait for you to get in and then I'll contact you. And I said, okay. And I was like, looking forward to working with you. And then he never DM'd me again. And later, I have this friend of mine he's a friend. I met him at a summer camp once. And I was on a voice chat with him. And he goes, bro, this YouTuber DM'd me like a week ago and like asked for free art. And then I told him no. And then he offered me like 25 of his currency, which was actually like $3 mine. And I was like, wait a second. And it turns out inside my friend group, he started with him and just went to a bunch of people who he followed which was me, a couple of my other friends, and so we all got a DM from this guy trying to convince us to take 25 of his currency.
Jesus.
But yeah, that's my only experience. I have another one that's slightly odder, but I'm not gonna. No, I don't want to talk for too long. So, do you guys have any opinions on getting scammed? Like, if someone reaches out to you and asks you for free art, how should you deal with that?
I actually had a thing where someone asked me for free art and I just did it. Like I have 3 or 4 cases where I just, because I felt like my art wasn't worth enough, so I just did it for free because I was like, sure, people are interested in my art, so I should respect it by giving it for free.
Yeah, that's a bad way to look at it. Even if you're the worst artist in the world, you shouldn't give your stuff away for free because that's still work. That's still labor.
So first of all, look what they want from you. If it's just like a simple sketch of a headshot, maybe you're like, okay, I can give it for free since I know you for longer. But I think with friends, it's more acceptable to ask for free art than it is with strangers. And I think like if you ask for free art, maybe don't go overboard. Like as Coda said with the icon, I mean, yeah, they are small and stuff like that, but still, it like takes a time. But if it's like the person is just like, hey, could you like do a quick sketch for me? I just don't know how to get it right. Maybe you can do it. It always depends like on how well you know that person or how much you did with that person. And the best way to like get free art or give free art is also to make an art trade, you know? It's maybe not fully free,
Yeah.
but it's better than nothing.
Yeah. What about you, Coen? What are your opinions on asking for free art? Because I think Apolia brings up an interesting point with if you're good friends with somebody, you know, is that like justified
It
then?
depends on the relationship. If you're a friend group of people who constantly draw stuff for each other, why the heck not? But if one of the people from my school, like if someone in my class would ask me like, "Hey, Coen, can you draw this for me?" I'd be like, "Heck yeah, I'd love to." But if someone from my class like messages me, like, "Coen, could you do this full illustration for me?" Haha, sorry, money, I need it, please. And then they never message me again, and then they ignore me at school. No, that never happened actually. But sometimes, like I had happen once where one of my classmates asked me to do a quick sketch of like a shark head, so he could paint it on his canoe, and I was like, heck yeah, that sounds awesome. I'm going to do that, and I spent like 5 minutes on the sketch, and he's going to be painting the canoe soon. So that's gonna be awesome.
Oh, very cool.
Yay.
Yeah. I don't know. When it comes to asking for free art, you have to keep in mind that it's a lot of work to draw. It takes hours and hours. So like there was one time whenever I was having trouble drawing. It was a joke in an animation I made a while ago.
Yeah.
Where this character was anime for like 3 frames.
You just have to say animation and people already know it's a while ago.
Jeez. But it was like 3 frames of this character being really anime, and it was a joke. But I couldn't draw this. It was, and I couldn't draw this character in an anime style. I was trying and I'm failing, and so I DM'd a good friend of mine at the time who drew in an anime style, and I was like, "Hey, can you draw a headshot, just a sticky note doodle, a sketch, like of this character?" And it was like a 2-minute thing for him, you know. But if I was like, "Hey, can you animate this scene for me for free?" That's too much. You know, you have to think about the workload.
Yeah, like just asking for help is fine, I think, as long as you know the person.
Yeah.
Like you can ask strangers, but it tends to be a bit of a different situation.
Right. And let's say a stranger approaches you and is really nice about, "Hey, can you draw this thing for free? I'd really appreciate it." And you want to. Should you or should you not?
I say go for it.
Mm-hmm.
What about you, Apolia?
I think so too. Like, you can do that, I guess. But also, like,
Yeah.
I had another example of like free art. For example, as I said, you can ask friends. It's like if it's a person, like Yeah,
If
that
it's a
was my TED
person,
talk.
if it's a person,
You can do
be
it. If
sure
it's
to be sure to talk to them. If it's a person,
Make sure it's not a dog. Just you have to like get them to verify that they're not a dog.
make
No, but
sure to do
If
that.
if you DM them and say, "Hey, send me a picture of you doing standing on two legs," and they can't do it, you know it's a dog.
Yeah.
also I found like a good example of when it's fine with friends and when it's not fine. What was what I wanted to say. For example, Coda asked me a while back to draw him as an anime girl. I will not give any context to this. I just did it for free because,
It
why
doesn't
would I
need
ask
any
him for like,
context.
yeah, exactly. Like, why would I need to ask Coda for money just for a quick like anime girl head drawing, especially since it wasn't that great anyways, but that doesn't matter.
But
But
see, guys,
like,
I
someone
have a tiny little secret I'd just like to throw in. If you're in the eyes of others not that specialized or not that good at art in general, they will just not ask you. It's great.
shut up. But for example, if it's like, hey, I can give you a free drawing, like it's fine if it's a quick one. And then they go, yeah, I would like to have this character and like this extremely detailed armor that doesn't take like 8 hours to draw, plus a full-on background. Also, I want it to be with like perfect straight outlines and like fully rendered. I'm like, just because I don't want to do the editing work of like bleeping all the things I will say, I would just go, no. No offense, but like, know your boundaries, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah. That know your boundaries. That raises a question. Do you think it's ever moral to ask for free art to strangers?
Yeah.
If they have done it before, you can ask it.
Like I do think there
Exactly,
are
and that's why I don't believe in giving out free art to strangers, because if you do it to one, you have to do it to everybody.
I do feel
Depends.
you giving free art is valuable, but only if it's from you. So like doing fan art is technically doing free art for something.
Imagine
no one
like
asked you to do fan art, I'm assuming.
But guys, imagine like doing commissions and you do like summer sales, and one of the things is like, sure, I can do that one thing for free, and you have like 10 spots free until like 10 spots to fill until like people can.
Meow.
Do you have to meow now? Like you have 10 spots to fill, and the person is like giving away like something in free, like as I said, a headshot maybe like with sketchy lines but colored. Something like that could be for free. I think then it's something else, like if it's a sale. But
I do think having a sale on commissions is never a good idea.
it depends. I would do it for like Christmas or like stuff like that, where I just want to like have a buttload of work and don't really like I just want a buttload of work apparently, but I also want like a little money, just
End
like
of sentence.
I don't know, just to buy another fursuit for me. I don't need that much money.
That wasn't a random thing. That was a cry for help.
Yeah.
Guys, I actually have an interesting thing about you. Okay, so listen to this. This is a cool story, I think. So I have a buddy, and I'm not going to say his name, and Opalia, and you guys may know who I'm talking about. Opalia will. But basically a while ago, he was like, hey, my D&D character, can you draw her? Like do a character sheet of her. And I have this rule where if they're a good friend, I'll give them one free piece of art, and then they have to pay from then on out.
Well,
so
crap.
Well, no. One, like, because he wanted a full-fledged illustration. I give them like one piece of that I would usually make someone pay for.
Yeah, I was making a joke going.
But I did it for him, and then he was like, "Thanks, man," And then I feel like, so he now runs a Discord server, and he wanted me to draw an icon for it, and I feel like he would have asked me to do it for free, but right before he made the server, he watched the commissions episode of Art Friends and became converted. He was like, well, now I can't take free art from you because that feels mean.
Welcome, Coda. We've done it for you.
We made you a communist. No, capitalist. You know, the communistic capitalist.
We made sure, we made sure that you wouldn't get ripped off. Communism.
Jeez, I'm so sick of getting scammed. I know, I'm gonna become a communist.
I mean, communists can't get scammed. Because there's nothing to scam if you don't have nothing.
If you don't have nothing.
Opalia quote, there's nothing to scam if you don't have nothing.
I mean, if you don't have nothing, you have everything.
Indeed. So there technically would be nothing to scam you, because you had everything?
Exactly. Like, that's the rule of communism, right?
The communism is one guy gets everything, so nobody can scam him.
No, I mean, communism is like everybody owns everything and there is no like rules of yours, mine.
Uh-huh.
That's what I meant, like everybody owns everything and no one owns nothing. For no one.
Yes, that's... but do you guys have any stories of how people tried scamming you in free?
No, as I said, I just did it.
Yeah. I think that one dude who tried scamming me thought that because we didn't know what his currency was, and because it was so much higher than value than, I mean, because the value was so much lower than USD, he thought we would think we were getting like $25 or something.
Wow, what an idiot.
Well, because he was so vague about it. I had to like question him to get what the currency he was using.
Yeah, I'll get you like 25. 25 what? You know, bucks. 20. What's the currency?
Bucks? That refers to USD. Are you talking about US? Well, I mean, 25 money.
25 capiche, bro.
25 of this currency. Huh? Wink, wink.
Which currency? You know, the good one.
The best.
What's that mean?
Should we move on to the next question, or do you have...
Yes, let's move on. I don't have anything.
Didn't you have a second scamming story?
Oh, I did. I don't... It's very vague.
Tell
it was
us.
somebody trying to get sympathy. It was someone trying to get sympathy from me.
Tell us.
To scam me. They go... I got a DM once, and he goes, "Help! My mother is very sick, and I wish to buy for her a get well. Can you draw one for me?" And I was like, that's such a specific request, a get well card. It has to be for somebody getting well. So I was trying to actually be empathetic with this kid. I said, "Can you draw it? Like, I feel like your mother would be much more proud and much happier to receive something if it was drawn by you." And he goes, "I can't." And I said, "Why not? Even if it's poorly drawn, I'm sure she would love it." And he goes, "I don't have a pencil." I go, "You can use a drawing app." He goes, "I don't have a phone." I said, "What are you DMing me on?" And he just never responded.
Lamau. Ladies and gentlemen, we got him. Coda, what's the next question?
So yeah, to summarize kind of what we said, we kind of goofed than usual with that one. Just, if you're going to ask for free art, make sure it's nothing big and make sure that you know the person. And if someone asks you for free art, think heavily before giving it to them, because it will result in other people asking for free art.
Exactly. Like, you can always do it. Like, we are not saying you shouldn't. We're just saying, like, think about it first before you do it. Like, sometimes you just don't want to do it, or maybe ask them before, like, "Hey, what do you even want me to art?"
Anyways, let's move on to the next question. So, This is a good one. I enjoy this one before. And it says, why do people draw with outlines when there are no outlines in real life?
Yeah. Why is that, Opalia?
Because it's easier to color.
I suppose, but like, and that maybe I think the answer of why people do it comes down to it looks good or it looks fine.
I think
But why does it look fine? Because they don't exist. So why does it look like they do? You know, it's hard to explain, but you know what
Yeah.
I'm
the thing
saying?
about outlines is like they are just showing you where the body ends and starts. Like where does it go from arm to hand, from knuckle to
Or really anything.
palm.
This isn't limited to bodies.
Exactly. Or like with cats, you can more easily see where the ear is, especially if it's like a more simplistic style.
Yeah. I don't know. I think outline mimics shadow is how
I
I
think
Guys,
it's.
wait, guys.
I think it comes down to two things. But what is
Yeah.
Opalia?
I saw, like, I was looking through all that and I just saw this one. I needed to show you because look at this.
No hamsters allowed. Whew. Oh wait, no, it's a transparent image. Click on it and the back turns black. My god, that's scary. The freaking blush turns into eyes and god, no. No.
That scared me when I first opened the
Yeah, I
image.
wanted to zoom in on what was like on his front. Oh dear god.
Oh, that's the two text bubbles become like mysterious floating orbs.
Oh,
They look like he has like sand skulls.
that's gonna be a yikes for me. Oh, Jesus Christ.
Opalia sent a drawing into the chat.
You've had to edit it.
That she made a long time
Edit
ago.
it into
Drawing.
the podcast. You have to edit it.
And
in.
basically, when it looks, because of the way Discord's color is, it looks like there's a dark gray hamster. But when you open the image, it turns out it wasn't dark gray. It was just transparent, so the hamster turns completely black, and it's
The blushing turns into like demonic
shadow in
eyes.
the night. The little blushy cheeks turn into demonic eyes because the eyes blend into the black background.
Oh man.
Okay, but back on subject. All right, we gotta stop looking at this art because it's getting us off topic.
That neck though. Yeah, I think it's.
Well, I think
Okay.
outlines
Go
come
ahead,
down
Coda.
to basically they mimic contour and
Yeah.
they mimic
Yeah, but
shadow.
why do we follow contour code?
Why do we follow contour?
Why don't
Well,
we do the big
to
shapes?
distinguish shapes?
Why don't we just fill in the shapes in different tones? Because that's how real life works. Why don't we do that?
Because it's harder. Basically, instead of distinguishing them by tones, they distinguish them by putting a border, and it's something that is
Yeah, but why do we
easier
put a
to
border?
do.
Why is it easier to do?
To distinguish shapes. Have we not established this?
Why is it easier to do?
What?
Why is it
So
easier to
confused.
do? Why is it easier to make an outline of something when you could just fill in the big space? Why is that easier to do? Tell us.
Well, for most people, I mean, think about most people draw with lines because it's faster, it's easier in the sense that
I think
they can be imperfect.
it's because it's more efficient.
Yeah, they're faster, they're more efficient. But not only that, they can be imperfect. So if you have a perfect shape of something, well, there's no room for error because it's a shape and it's perfectly defined. Well, like if you want to make a perfectly realistic drawing,
Yeah, but you'd never.
there's no room for error because it's perfectly defined
but
shape. However, with lines, if you have thicker lines, the right line's in there somewhere.
But Coda, you can do hyper-realistic stuff with lines. Like something can look hyper-realistic with lines. Just depends on how you use the line quality and where you use lines. And you can do like faulty stuff with shapes. It's not like shapes are exclusively for hyperrealistic thing and they have no room for error. It's not a thing that's exclusive
Not
to
at
lines.
all. There's a lot of paper cutout shape styles that are super simple and have no lines.
Not to mention paint. You know?
Yeah.
But I think,
But
personally,
Coen, why do you think people use
I
lines?
think one, because it's more efficient. Like when you're drawing a big old bison, for example, let's just think of a really, really huge one, okay? You could spend like the next 5 minutes filling in the big shape and trying to get it like to an even tone, or you could just outline it. It's much more efficient. But why do we outline it? Well, I think that's because humans are genetically and biologically and whatever programmed to distinguish shapes. It helps us to catch predators. It helps us to differentiate things from each other. That, like, when we see something, we break it down into a shape, like unconsciously. So I think that when we try to replicate that shape, we don't like focus on the whole shape, but rather the iconography of that shape. So outlining it instead of drawing the whole shape, basically.
Yeah, contours of shapes. And then when it comes to adding things like how would you draw a nose? Well, that mimics shadow. Put lines where shadow would be is how I see it.
Yeah, I can see.
That's more like in the realm of drawing like a painting, which is good.
Yeah.
Gee, it's an interesting topic, and I don't have a full answer to it.
It is. I feel like there could be a whole episode devoted to this, but
I'll have to
Opalia, do you
research
think
it
there's a
later.
certain reason why lines work? Like, in theory, if painting would have only existed, if people have only painted, and someone came up to me as a ancient paintsman and said, did you know you could just put some black lines on the paper and make something just as realistic seeming? I'd be like, nonsense, shapes can be distinguished only by color. You know? So why do you think lines work?
I think lines work because of all, like Cohen said earlier, like you could just do shapes and have everything done by shapes, but I think lines kind of, first of all, fasten up your art. Like even if you do extremely realistic art, you start with a sketch, which is pretty much just lines. I think lines just make it easier to figure out what the person wants to draw. For example, if they want to make a face and they just draw in like the shapes in the beginning, people cannot see it as a face immediately, and I think it's like to get the proportions right. Like it's a helpful tool, and others just use it because of style, because they think it looks good. To use line art instead of realism. For example, thicker line art is just making like the colors look better or the shapes that they use to art. So I think lines are important to make your style, like first of all your style, to make it easier to get the shapes done, to get the proportions done right.
I think it's also sorry to interrupt, but I think it's also that when you're using like applies like a pencil, and way back then digital stuff didn't exist, but like with a pencil or with ink you can only get so much different tones of something, so some shapes are very hard to distinguish between each other.
Yeah, because like I said, it's turning shadows into lines. Now, I guess that's not always true. I guess it does kind of go back to the shape theory of contouring shape. You know, you pick a shape and draw a line around the outside of that shape. The brain kind of fills in the volume of that shape and how it would be shaded.
Basically, answer to this question, we don't know yet. Let us research it real quick. Okay, thanks.
But I think it'd be fun to bring it up again, maybe next time we do these answering question things, and see if we have a better answer.
Yeah.
All right. Would you like to move on to the next question?
I would
No,
like to.
never.
You wouldn't? All right, Coen, I'm gonna kick you out.
Oh.
See, no, you failed.
Comercast is back, everyone. I'm competing.
Oh dear, we would be competitors with the old Commercast.
You can't really compete with.
Already nostalgic for it, and it wasn't even that long ago.
No, I have no idea. I don't bother remembering.
So, all right.
Next question.
This is the probably deepest one, and then we have a more lighthearted and or story-oriented one after this. But how does one capture emotion in visual art?
Easy. Draw a smiley face and you've captured happiness. No problem.
Fair. But okay, so let's say in theory, somebody paints an abstraction, right?
Yeah.
Mhm.
It's completely indistinguishable what it is, yet those paintings are able to trigger sadness or joy.
Yeah. I think it comes down to the artist knowing how to put feelings onto a canvas, and the way they do that, I'm not entirely sure because I'm not too experienced with that, but I do think it has a lot to do with the artist's skill and energy they put in, like not only just the colors of making a thing yellow and boom, now it's happy. That does definitely help, but you can make a happy black and white drawing, you know. I think it's about putting the right energy and feeling it.
It really depends, like, what you're showing, because also, like, if you're showing like a sunny day, someone is like outside, sunbathing, it gets more of a relaxed, warm, happy tone, you know?
Yeah.
Whilst someone in the rain, maybe they have like a umbrella, but they put it down, like they closed it and they're just like feeling the rain on them. It could be not more of a melancholic scene.
Right.
Yeah.
There was a fun challenge I did whenever I was a bit newer to art, just to experiment with this sort of stuff. And the challenge was draw a happy photo using only sad colors.
Mhm.
It turned out to be so difficult. I might be able to do it better now.
You should
but
try it.
Back then, I should try it. But back then, I think everything in a drawing has to do with its emotion, because I drew this really happy train, and it wasn't even abstract, of course. It was like a thing that was happy, but when I used sad colors, it gave it almost a ominous feeling, like something terrible was about to
For
happen.
elderly people.
Yes. So, it has to do with everything, I think.
I think colors are very important, but you can have grayscale images that convey emotion, so they're not total.
I think when it comes to capturing emotion in art, everything matters. So shape matters, value matters, color matters. Even subject matter matters a ton, you know? And I like the idea of talking about it in an abstract sense of how would you capture an abstract painting. However,
oh Jesus,
subject matter comes in, it can enhance emotion a ton. So, for example, I drew recently, I've been doing a series of daily drawings, and I drew a dude punching another dude in the face, just because I wanted to experiment with more dynamic posing. And I was like, what if I put these dudes in the rain? And I did, and I did put them in the rain, though, and it immediately made the movie so much more emotional. It was weird.
Yeah.
So I guess it has to do with
like
shape.
Associations too.
Associations, yeah, that's the best way to put it. People associate certain things with certain feelings and moods, and then taking what you associate and filtering it through the artist lens and putting it onto the paper.
I think it's all about also the artists themselves, how they perceive things and how they think about certain things.
Yeah.
Partially.
Opalia, what are your thoughts? Say there's an abstract painting, not any subject matter. How would one capture the emotion of anything, or sadness specifically?
what do you mean?
Like, how would you go about using shapes, colors, and values, because that's all you have in an abstract painting,
or lines,
to Say that
Or
again?
lines. You can have lines.
Lines are kind of a shape.
Shh. Don't tell them, Coda.
But how would you go about capturing an emotion in that, either of you?
I mean, since I only have the possibility of abstract, I would actually go mostly with colors. Because colors are the best at like showing emotions.
Mhm.
Uh-huh.
So I think it's...
Yeah, I can see that. I would argue shapes are the best at showing emotions.
I don't know.
What about you, Coen? What do you think is?
I think it's a whole bunch of stuff you can use. Contrast, obviously. Like if something's high contrast, it tends to come off as a bit punchier, a bit more aggressive. And when something's low contrast and soft overall, it tends to be a bit more comfortable, warm, pleasant. Like a bit, like literally, just a bit nicer. It doesn't mean it's better. Having a low contrast piece can be very bad. It is bad in most cases. You want a good separation of contrast, but you can definitely use it to your to the best of your ability, I guess. Not sure. To your advantage. That's the word I was looking for. And I think, like I touched on energy and stuff earlier, but you can call it like brushwork or marks, like the way you put them down. If you look at like Jackson Pollock's or Karel Appel's paintings, you can clearly tell that Jackson Pollock's insane and that Karel Appel's just throwing paint, like literally. He's throwing it at the canvas and it has so much energy. It's great.
Right.
And if you're doing like a soft one, you maybe have like bigger, softer, more samey brushstrokes. That's what I think.
Yeah, I can see that. I guess it's just an amalgamation of
A
everything.
lot of stuff.
I've noticed that if I am feeling an emotion, like let's say I want to that's happy, I just hype myself up and I start like getting real happy as I'm drawing, and I just constantly keep trying to simulate this.
Oh yeah.
I'm like, oh yeah, this is so happy, this is so good, yay! I'm just like constantly like, yay, happy.
I wish I would be able to simulate happiness.
Oh god.
I have a hard time, but like when I'm drawing a certain emotion, it's so hard to describe, but I can usually, as I'm drawing, force myself to feel that emotion, and when I do, it comes across in the drawing.
For me, it kind of happens accidentally, where in class or whatever, I'll be drawing a grumpy guy and I'll be looking like real angry, and then the person next to me is like, Coen, are you alright? Yeah, I'm totally fine. But I also have the problem where if I'm focusing or thinking, I tend to look very mad. So that's just a problem with me in general. Oh well.
My brother had the same thing.
Oh well. I think that's like acting and drawing is a great thing to do. If you know how to act, you'll be better at conveying emotions in drawings, most likely.
Who was it? Oh, who was it? Oh, I can't believe I can't. But he said it was a legendary animator. I think he worked on Roger Rabbit or something.
Like an animator is as much of an
that.
actor as he is an artist or something?
It was an animator. It's just an actor with a pencil.
Oh yeah, that was. What do you think about that, Opalia? How do you feel when you're drawing?
Depends. Mostly when I'm motivated, I feel motivated.
And do you think that has an effect on your...
Yeah, my motivation does have an effect on my art. Like, the less motivated I am, the more sloppy I get, and the more motivated I am, the better it gets. You can also see it by the amount of details I put in and stuff like that.
Oh, very cool. Yeah, I can definitely see how that would be reflected in a drawing. I want to say it was Chuck Jones who said that.
Should I look it up?
I can't find the quote exactly, but I really want to say it was Chuck Jones.
All right. We'll just credit it to him, and if it isn't person who's editing this, we'll have to add in a robotic voice, saying like Chuck Jones or whatever.
Yeah, the robotic voice is being like James Baxter.
James Baxter.
It was Chuck Jones' Coda. Good job.
Capturing emotion visual art, which could honestly be its own episode entirely, and I think it should be at some point.
Yeah, we'll talk about it. That's just this entire episode. We'll talk about it later.
We'll do it later. But
okay,
I think
this episode has secretly been about
to...
procrastination the whole time.
But I think it comes down to everything, you know?
There's a lot of stuff that goes into it.
Yeah, it's like literally everything. Like the way the brushstrokes put down, the way the shapes that they make, the colors, the subject matter, the emotion of the artist who was painting and drawing it.
And I think that
like
can
everything.
I think that can get a bit intimidating sometimes, but don't overfocus, guys.
Yeah, don't overfocus it. Just draw. Don't think about it too technically. Emotion is a very abstract, so think about it. Don't think about it, really. Feel it out is the best way to do it. Just if you draw something shape, you're good to go. You don't need to like study what is the saddest shape.
Coda, what is the saddest shape?
A triangle.
Why?
Is it? I thought that was like the angriest shape.
Are you sure?
I would argue that I would argue the saddest shape is a circle or a raindrop.
Well, aren't raindrops just stretched out and made curvy triangles?
Aren't they just liquefied tooled circles?
The next question is, have people ever accidentally insulted your art?
Yeah, have people
How
ever
do you even
accidentally
insult art,
insulted your
guys?
art? Man, that bad.
I mean, I got insulted. Like, my art got insulted multiple times before.
How did that happen?
Yeah, like, wait, you just mean intentionally?
Yeah.
Because you can insult anything with the same insult. Dang, that's not good.
I mean, what do you call it already an insult when you're like, well, I think your character looks like this one, so your character design is not like very original.
Yeah, the specific question that came to us: have you ever had someone compare your characters to existing characters, or say your character had a not safe for work aspect when they're supposed to be safe for work, and how did you react to it? And I kind of took that as somebody accidentally insulting your art, because a lot of times people will be like, you'll like show them a drawing and they're like, oh, that reminds me a lot of this better thing. And you're like, and they don't mean it to be mean, but then you're just like, oh, yeah, it does, I guess.
Exactly.
But do you guys have any stories or times you can recall of or examples of people accidentally insulting artwork?
No. Not that I remember, at least. I did have this one guy who was like, who always ended his sentences like with a couple of dots, and was like very passive aggressive towards my stuff. He would be like, "Huh, that's cool, I guess." ... And I'll be like, "Okay, sure."
Yeah, I hate when people do that because I have no idea how to read it.
What do you mean? Please tell me.
That actually reminds me of Zillan from the guild. Like that one guy that always was like talking to Zillan like that. Like,
Yeah.
ew, I wouldn't
Oh,
get
that
the pizza from there. It doesn't seem very delicious. Something like that.
Yeah, just like random little snarky comments.
Snarky.
Just like you draw a pizza and they're like, I wouldn't get pizza from that pizza place up top. I don't know. I guess when it comes to accidentally having art being insulted, if you're saying that having your thing compared to another thing is an accidental insult, I had this character who had water drop sideburns. Like her sideburns over her ears fell into the shape of water drops because she was a water themed character. And everybody was like, oh, it's Splatoon Girl.
Oh, I hate when that happens.
So that was a bit annoying, but I never I was just like, yep, it does look like Splatoon Girl.
Like about to punch them, but because you're Coda, you just don't punch them.
He could punch their soul out of them, honestly.
Exactly.
I could exercise them.
Could what? Oh yeah, you're Christian.
Exercise them. But I don't know. I feel like the worst types of art insults are the the ones that are oddly specific like that, like, I guess it's good, ... or I wouldn't buy pizza from that pizza joint, because the only other two types are, ew, gross, bad colors, which is a hate comment, but then you get to be like, oh, maybe my color is great. So at least you get something from it. Or there's the other type, which is just bad job.
Bad.
You
You
know,
done.
in which case you just completely ignore it.
You did bad. I don't
So-
like you. You bad.
Yes, exactly. So you have the one that could help, even if they don't mean it to, and the one that you ignore, and then you have the one that's just puzzling.
One that did hurt me sometime was like a thing about my art in general, was that I didn't work for it. Like, people were saying in the chat, like, oh yeah, art is pure pain, it's so difficult, art hates us, right? And I was like, no, it's actually a very positive thing, and art doesn't hate you, it's just your perception of it. If you struggle with it, they were like, I guess not everyone has to work for it. It's like,
Rude.
bro, I have
Rude.
drawn more.
You were 100% right in that situation.
I have drawn more in the last
If you-
week than you have in the last year, most likely. I think I can't tell, actually. I'm sorry.
You draw more than most people I know, like even like some professional
I'm drawing
artists,
right now.
so I can safely say that. You are. I would consider you addicted to it.
I am. 100%.
It's his true addiction.
It is. But I don't know. I'm trying to think of times anybody's actually accidentally hurt me. Like, I'm trying to think of times somebody's accidentally insulted
Opalia, why
my
did
art.
people insult your art? Or did they?
I think it's already insulting when they're like, "Oh yeah, that character looks like someone else."
Really?
And one time I was just
I don't
showing my
think so,
original characters, and someone went, "Oh yeah, that kind of looks like Cora," and I'm like, "It's a dude with green clothing, brown eyes." I guess the hair color and skin color are the same. So just by the hair and skin color, you assumed that this guy, this wide-built guy with a schwingeling in their dingeling, is Cora.
There's a swingling in there.
Indeed.
Oh.
Indeed. So what in the frick?
Okay, no need to call speed out. Now we know it was speed. Now we know it was speed.
No, it wasn't Speed.
No. Now we can't call speed out. Come on.
Speed gets suck.
So any new listeners, Speed is a person. He is a human. We're
He
not
was in
He's
the
a dog.
podcast. He was in an episode of
He
the
was in
podcast. You
episode
should
3.
know him. You should. No, not episode 3.
4.
No, I'm like minus
3 was
10% sure.
Pokemon. 3 was
Right.
Pokemon.
We kind of worked a week ahead. I forgot about that. And then Coda just dismissed
Yeah.
us because he hates us.
He does.
Yeah.
No, I didn't dismiss you. I dismissed myself to go do some work.
Yeah, that's what they all say.
Yeah.
They all by me. You mean?
Yeah.
I guess if everyone who's left is me, and everyone who's left has said that, that would be they all.
Yeah. It is like that.
But I don't know. I can't think of any times that I have been accidentally. I can't think of many times I've been offended.
Offended? I've only
can't
been
think-
like twice when people were like comparing my character
Oh,
to oddly very different characters.
I don't know. I've never found that super irritating. Other than the fact that people can't read when it makes other people upset. So like it doesn't upset me, but it like when people say my characters look like characters, but it upsets me when people say other people's characters look like other characters and can't read the fact that it makes that person upset.
Mm-hmm. I guess it's just because you overall just don't really care.
Yeah. What were you gonna say, Coen?
what was I gonna say? Oh yeah. I don't think I've ever been like super Offended? I have been. Like, I can't say I wasn't offended. I've had one comment about the work I put in. That was just me being a bit too salty, probably even. Because it might have just been a joke. I can't tell.
I don't
You know?
think there's too salty.
Yeah, there is. Just ask anyone who's played Overwatch.
Ask a Karen, SMH.
Also that.
Yeah, there's definitely such a thing as too salty, but I don't know. I don't know. Some people don't have to put the work in. I consider that an ignorant statement because it's not really true.
Yeah.
Just because you don't hate doing something doesn't mean you didn't work at it.
Oh no.
Man, I love my job. Well, I hate mine, which means I'm working than you.
Yeah. That isn't true. Shut up.
Yes. But anyways, I think that's about a wrap. I mean, we answered all the questions and I think we footage.
It could be a shorter episode. I think that's fine.
Yeah. Well, with that being said, well, thank everybody for watching. If you have any questions that you would like us to get around to answering in the next episode, you can go to our Instagram at artfriends_cast, or go to our YouTube channel, where this video will also be up if you're listening on Spotify, and comment some questions underneath there.
Exactly, and thank you for watching.
So, and yeah, thank you for listening. Coen, any parting words?
No. That was my word.
Beautiful. Well put.
Well then, guys, I hope you liked this video. If you did so, please like it. And if you loved it, please leave a subscribe. We are almost hitting 100 subscribers at the point of recording this video, which is very crazy for me. And I think it's also for Coen, but not for Coda, because he is used to it.
I have more than 100 subscribers on my own channel.
Shut up.
Excuse me.
Do you?
Yeah. It's like 109.
Also, it's a myth that it gets easier to get more following as soon as you have like 100. But maybe it's not a myth with this channel. Haha. Well, anyways, see you guys. Stay safe, drink some water, stay hydrated. You know, it's summer.
It is. All right. Have a good day, night, or evening.
Bye.
Bye.
See ya.
Hey, I'm done with my drawing. Woo! I hate it.
Oh, come on.
Oh.
Also, Coda, that's chef drawing.
It's
Oh.
chef kiss.
It's so good. I love it. I just flexed on.
Thank you. I wasn't super happy with it. It was my least favorite of all the three so far.
Sucks to suck.
Well, Coda, this is impressive. I'm particularly impressed by this one out of 3. Yeah, it was my least favorite. It was just like a quick sketch, no big deal. Come on!
Let me just compliment you.
Wait, was it your favorite?
Yeah.
Oh, why?
Because I feel like it's the most powerful and interesting image.
Oh,
Rush
cool.
into the middle immediately. Yeah.
Yes,
like,
thank you. I really appreciate it.
That's like saying, goddamn. Look, guys, I just did a design real quick. Not too happy with it though.